Copyright disclaimer. The beginning of this is going to be spoiler free. Let's just start there. I will let you know when the spoiler part hits. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Bill. This is kind of like trying to stand. I try new things in pop culture because I've been living under a rock. So right at the end of 2022, DreamWorks added another installment to the Shrek franchise spin-off. Not Shrek. A sequel to the Shrek spin-off, Puss in Boots. It's not called Puss in Boots 2, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I'm sure there was advertising for it somewhere. I heard about it and just shrugged, scoffed, rolled my eyes, and went, ugh, another Shrek spin-off movie thing. And honestly, I think that is the way to go into this movie. I just kind of sat down to watch it on a whim. People were saying that it's good and just showed pictures of the wolf. And I went, okay, cool. I'm sure there's a cool part or a cool character or cool scene. And now that I can watch it from the safety and comfort of my home, oh boy, this surprised me in the best ways. Hot take, this movie did in fact need to go hard. It's already climbing up a huge mountain of previous Shrek movies since I'd say Shrek 2. I don't think I've watched any Shreks since Shrek 3. I might have seen the fourth one. I definitely haven't seen any Puss in Boots stuff, and I want to talk about this movie. Why do I want to talk about this movie? I don't even have my notes. Hold on. It's nothing really against DreamWorks. They've done good movies in the past. I had negative expectations going into this. Not in an angry way, in a below zero way. I had less than zero expectations going into this movie, and it just wowed me. I'll give you a spoiler-free breakdown and then a deep dive breakdown. How about that? I'm sure it'll be on streaming at some point. I just want to talk about it. So, spoiler-free breakdown. Puss in Boots is still doing his usual thing of being this legendary Robin Hood-esque hero, stealing from the rich and partying with the poor. Giving to the poor, but mostly partying with the poor. He's still voiced by Antonio Banderas, who gives an amazing performance. Everybody does a great job in this movie. I can't think of a lacking performance. Florence Pugh is in this as Goldilocks in the greatest reimagining of Goldilocks I've ever seen. Selma Hayek, I guess, returns as Kitty Softpaws. I thought that was a new character, and honestly, you don't need to see Puss in Boots to watch The Last Wish. I don't know, is it any good? Leave a comment, like and subscribe. Anyway, we open on Puss in Boots sharing the wealth of the governor of some town with the townsfolk. Mr. In Boots, to be YouTube advertiser friendly, Mr. In Boots is partying with the townspeople at the governor's house. The governor gets there, freaks out, a fight ensues at this loud party. It awakes a giant, and we get the first taste of this beautiful, very Spider-Verse inspired animation style. Everything's so fun and bright. He has a fight with this troll creature that's taking the governor and the townspeople, and when he wins, he is about to leave, stays behind for one more song, and showboats just to have a giant bell fall on him, and he dies. I already really love the initial action scene with the troll. It's very Shadow the Colossus meets Spider-Verse. It's colorful. I love how the bell tolls before it falls on Puss in Boots. He wakes up in the office of the town vet / barber / doctor / witch finder, and he informs him not only did he pass away in that accident, if cats have 9 lives, how many times have you died? And we get this very funny and also very dark montage of all the times he has died prior to this moment, revealing that he is now on his 9th life. They're really reserved in their Shrek references, which I really appreciate. We get a very brief Gingy the Gingerbread Man cameo. We get a Pinocchio one. Shrek shows up in a my lives are flashing before my eyes kind of way. And that's about it. The doctor prescribes that he retire from adventures since he's now on his last life and offers up a retirement sort of option for Mr. Boots to go to Mama Luna's, a cat lady in search of a new lap cat. Mr. Boots rejects this proposition, insisting that he is strong as a bull and laughs in the face of death. It's actually part of his catchphrase, to laugh in the face of death. And instead goes to drink heavy cream at a heavy cream pavilion and runs into a mysterious wolf. This mysterious wolf has a very large, dark, brooding presence. His eyes are red. There's very little color in the bar after having the big life of the town that he saves and the giant troll fight. All this vibrancy is slowly draining from the scene as this wolf appears. He's making Mr. Boots very uncomfortable. And then the wolf produces a wanted poster, Mr. Boots' wanted poster. Same old, same old. A bounty hunter wants to take on Mr. Boots. He gets disarmed by the wolf immediately. Turns out the wolf's bark is not nearly as bad as his bite, and he already has this very confident, dark, almost arrogant and tired demeanor to him. I love the wolf. I like this character so much. I understand why the internet's been kind of freaking out about him. And he bests Mr. Boots in a sword fight. A fun fact about Puss in Boots, he always declares that no blade has ever touched him. The wolf's blade is the first one to touch him. And we get a shot of red juice. We get a shot of blood. Mr. Boots runs away. He escapes through the toilet, of all things, through the sewer line, leaving behind his sword, deciding to take up the doctor's recommendation and go into retirement at Mama Luna's. However, Mama Luna is a cat lady who just wants cats and insists that the magical talking animal Puss in Boots behaves like a cat. And as Puss in Boots concedes to this life of retirement and being literally a cat, now named Pickles, wearing little handmade mittens, speaking cat isn't his primary language, so he's already distant from all the other cats in the house. I also really appreciate that this kind of retirement just isn't right for him. It doesn't look down on the cats. It's just not the right solution for him. It's just not what he needs either ever or right now. Still echoing the problem that got him here in the first place of not knowing when to quit. He sort of has a eulogy for himself as he buries his hat and his boots and his cape. And as he eulogizes the legacy, the legend of being Puss in Boots, he doesn't know when to quit. Words cannot express this. Doubles back to sing, and then singing his Fearless Hero song is what ultimately breaks him, and he begins to weep in the rain as he resigns to being a house cat for his retirement. We see our B plot enter into our A plot with a crime family version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, which I thought was not only really refreshing, but very creative. And the fact that this is one of two, maybe 2.5 fairy tales that are Shrekified. I appreciate taking the time to be detailed with a couple as opposed to 50 references all in Shrek's house. It was great in Shrek 1. They can't keep trying to recapture the smoke in the bottle of Shrek 1 and Shrek 2. The main one, other than Puss in Boots, being Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Now this sort of amateur crime family. I did think this one's too big, this one's too small, this one's just right hit too many times, but it's not a big deal, and it does hold weight throughout the movie, and there's a value to it and a payoff at the end. Goldilocks and the Bear family are looking to hire Puss in Boots for a job to steal a map to the wishing star from Little Jack Horner, the pie guy. Luckily, when they get to the house, Puss in Boots has now grown out his beard. He's very disheveled. He has been a house cat for so long that he is literally unrecognizable. They assume he's dead and leave. Mr. Boots overhears their plan and realizes if he gets to this wishing star, he can wish for his 9 lives back. He also runs into a talking dog who disguises himself as a cat so he can sneak into the house to steal food. He's a dog with no name and a dog with no home. And honestly, I liked the jokes. This is when I started to get a little nervous, but it works so well to have this optimistic, bright, cheery, silly character alongside Puss in Boots when he's at his lowest point. Turns out this nameless dog wants to be a therapy dog and offers the comfort of rubbing his belly in the hopes of making him feel better. He figures out he's Puss in Boots and wants to go with him on this adventure. This dog who pretended to be a cat to survive, it really shouldn't have worked. And hitting on the fact that he is unwanted and has no home and has no name, it kind of gives a lovely perspective of the gratitude Puss in Boots should have. I love that Mama Luna's house doesn't overstay its welcome. This easily could have been a comedy about him learning to be a cat by teaching the dog how to be a cat, or something a little more simple and silly. Puss in Boots and the dog go off to Jack Horner's factory to steal the map to get his last wish. Upon doing so, they run into Kitty Southpaw. Like, left-handed representation, please. Softpaw. I keep saying Southpaw. He runs into an old flame, Kitty Softpaw, and so Kitty, Puss in Boots, and the nameless dog are now going to team up and search for the wishing star. And that's about as far as I can go without spoiling anything. I think that's just the general story. Before I get into spoilers, I just want to say, on paper, if you told me this is a story about Puss in Boots, girl Puss in Boots, and a silly talking dog, I'd go, oh no. I love that it's so much more than what it sounds like on paper. Don't forget to like and subscribe because we're about to hit spoilers. If you don't care about spoilers, you've seen the movie already, please also like and subscribe, but stick around because I want to talk about the details of this movie. Okay. So I originally had a note. I was bummed and disappointed the wolf isn't in the death montages. Yes, he is. He's in the corner of the little number cards. Quick shout out to Morgan Terry for showing me this. What? Thank you, Morgan. Oh, it's satisfying to look. Okay, anyway, Goldie and the Three Bears. It's already amazing foreshadowing for where this story's gonna go with Goldie and the bears, and the fact that Goldie can't see the family that's in front of her because she literally can't see Puss in Boots is right in front of her. I don't even know if that's intentional. There's something so just deliciously ironic about it. I thought Goldie wanted to be a bear. Baby Bear makes a couple of pot shots that she's not a real bear and she's just an abandoned orphan or something. I thought her wish was, I want to be a bear. Mr. Boots and the dog go to Jack Horner's pie factory to steal the map to the wishing star. And this is where we're introduced to Jack Horner, a villain bigger and badder than death himself. I can't believe how much I liked this character. He's voiced by John Mulaney. It's done really well. There's something about his dry reading and his kind of nasally tone of voice that just matches really well with this big, presumably oafish, silly character. This is a version of our protagonist, our hero, if he didn't care about other people. There's so many times where the dog gets kidnapped, or he could pull a fast one on Kitty. He could do so many selfish acts, and he doesn't. He wants other people around him. Jack Horner does not care. He's just friendly fire for days. Even when he uses the fairy godmother's wand to make a pumpkin into his carriage, he smashes the pumpkin. He doesn't care. Because I was sitting there and I'm like, Jack Horner, does that count? Are you grasping for straws? And then he says the line, I'm just a nursery rhyme. And we get his little flashback where he used to say his little nursery rhyme while he's selling his family's pies, competing with Pinocchio, Shrek Pinocchio. However, I do appreciate all the Pinocchio jokes here because I think they knew that their timeline was lining up with Disney's Pinocchio live action remake that nobody needed, or the far superior in every way Guillermo del Toro, Pat McHale, Netflix Pinocchio, which I'm still working on a video for. Either way, I think they knew that they were going up against a couple of Pinocchio movies because there's a lot of Pinocchio jokes, and I kind of like that on a meta level. I love his response to the magic wooden boy getting everyone's praises. I've been a boy my whole life, and not only does he want magic for himself or to be magical, he wants to take the world's magic. No one else is allowed to have magic. And it's interesting that that's not a focal point. You'd think the talking dog and the talking cats would want the ability to still stand up on their hind legs and speak and stuff. There's something so rewarding that all these characters who do stop him need to figure their stuff out first so they can all unite and save the magic of the world. Like, this is stuff that would affect the whole Shrekiverse, the Shrek CU. They don't have time for that because they're all wrapped up and tangled in their own stuff. It's so good. I appreciate, as I'm sitting there going, well, what's everyone gonna wish for? Are we gonna sing about it? What's your dream? We're gonna tangle this or what? They bring in the birthday wish superstition of if you say your wish out loud, it won't come true. And it's kind of true. Everybody says what they're gonna wish for at some point, and nobody gets a wish. Kitty and Puss in Boots realize that they both need the map. They want the same thing. They reluctantly team up after escaping the town with the dog. One of the diversions they create is tossing a bag of gold coins off the side so the townspeople will grab it and stop their pursuers. Puss in Boots tries to, I'm back, I'm Puss in Boots, you're welcome, a golden gift from the legendary hero. And then the wolf shows back up. And it's genuinely startled me. I wasn't expecting him to come back. I thought he was just a catalyst. Maybe he'd be in like the post-credit scene of like, oh, you got your groove back, did you? Something. But nope, he's just standing there whistling away, creepy as a ghost. And then he puts 2 of the gold coins on his eyes. Instantly amazing foreshadowing. I know that that's a theme a lot of death. Payment for the ferryman to cross the river Styx, or I think also payment for St. Peter at the gates. I don't know. It's also so unnervingly silly for that kind of presence in that character. And that's what I like about him so much, is he's so reserved. He has this strange hatred mixed with formality, but then also those playful moments where he's toying with him or messing with them. It's just extra and sinister, and it's brilliant. I just wrote scary coin eyes religious. As the three of them figure out what they're going to do with this map. Oh, Santa Coloma? Kitty and Mr. Boots, which sounds like an awful morning cartoon show. The two of them start fighting over the map, and they don't trust each other because of something that happened in Santa Coloma. I hope I said that right. I got a C- in Spanish in high school. I'm not good at pronunciation. I'm sorry. If you've seen my Encanto videos, you know I'm not good, but I try my best. Santa Coloma. And it's this ominous little throwaway line, and they all kind of begrudgingly go together to try to find the wishing star. They open this mysterious map, and it tells them to go to the dark forest, also hang on to this map. It's the key to the star. I love this sort of pseudo couples counseling that happens between having an unbiased third party hang on to the map. When they arrive at the forest, it's very mysterious. It's like this almost interdimensional portal of darkness kind of thing. And as we enter the dark forest, it's surprisingly pretty, vibrant, bright colors, jelly bean colored, Candylandy. That's all I could think of as candy colors. And when they look at the map, they discover the map knows the holder's wish, but also their heart. And it formulates a path based on who you are. When Puss in Boots holds it, suddenly the map changes. There's fire and danger. They have to cross the Valley of the Dead or something, and into the Cave of Lost Souls. Everything's dangerous, foreboding, but also themed in death. That is the thing he needs to conquer, is his fear of death. He needs to embrace his mortality. When Kitty Southpaws holds it, all the themes that we see suddenly start to focus around loneliness. And I like that concept of, why do we keep the annoying dog then if he's so annoying? Well, when he holds the map, everything looks like candy. So let's keep the map with him. And I thought for a while it was going to be like a you're cheating the system or a liar revealed kind of a thing, but nope, it just subverts it completely. And I really appreciate it. I really thought I knew what this movie was going to do, and every time it surprised me. I really appreciate, as our characters get to know each other better, the seemingly not fair, easy path that the dog gets of the Candyland and walking through the posies and all that stuff. Turns out he has his own traumas. He was abandoned by his family, and not only that, but they threw him in the river, Aristocat style. He's convinced that they were just playing hide and seek, and I guess I'm still it because I've never found my family since. There's something about someone being on an optimistic or happy or deceptively easier seeming path that's not indicative of the journey that they've known. I appreciate that outlook, and just the realization that we and the other characters are having, that he's wearing the sock that his family abandoned him in. There's something about that, and that revelation of like, don't assume. Everyone's going through their own things. It's so tangible how taken aback Puss in Boots and Kitty are, and just that revelation of, you're the one who actually deserves a wish. And he's like, I don't even know what I would wish for. I have friends and a nice sweater. And again, I sat there and went, okay, I love that. You're getting the wish. Nope. I love how that doesn't take away from what everyone else is going through, but it does add the perspective of, hey, let's not assume that this is just some happy-go-lucky, easy street dog. And it's even set up for you right away. When we see everyone's character introductions, they have like a little wanted poster. It's confusing on Jack Horner, but maybe he's done some white-collar crimes, I don't know. But when we see the dog's wanted poster, it says unwanted. But, oh, talking dog, like he's dressed as a cat, it's deceptively funny. It kind of glosses over it to save that nugget of knowledge for later. You've had to help yourself get through a hard time, and you want to be a therapy dog so you can help other people get through a hard time. It just all clicks so nicely, and it leaves a lot of that conclusion for you, the audience. It's not so spelled out. Even down to how this seemingly easy path, it's still a struggle for Puss in Boots and for Kitty. And it's this beautiful value the moment, stop and smell the roses. There's something about the breathing exercise behind it. There's something mindful about that moment, despite the ticking clock of Goldie the Bears and Jack Horner and his baker's dozen crew all finding their way into the forest. It had a nice wellness moment to it, as well as tying into the main theme of valuing your life. Speaking of, as we see Goldie and the bear family land in the dark forest, oh, birthday wish rule. I can't tell you what the wish is, but it's gonna make everything just right for all of us. Don't worry. Goldie kind of has this plan, and the bears are kind of just following her lead. There's even like a shadow that they walk under when the mama bear turns to Goldie and says, well, you can tell me mother-daughter secret, haha. And she goes, no, drop it. And you could tell that something's off, something's bothering her, something's stressing her out. This is when I thought Goldie wants to wish to be a bear. Oh, but honey, we love you no matter what. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was really surprised how much I related to Goldilocks. That's when we get the birthday wish rule. I like how it's kind of a superstition that everybody just kind of follows just in case. The stakes are so high for everyone. We also see Jack Horner barreling through the path and it's right as I'm worried, are we gonna get too much Jack Horner? Should we not see him again until later? He tries to pull out his Excalibur from the Mary Poppins bag, and the rock's still on it. He goes, I can't get this rock off, but it's still pretty neat, huh? I think they handled this character so well. And right as I'm like, oh, he's just gonna be silly, he sacrifices like half of his team to get through the pocket full of posies. All he needed to do is stop and smell the flowers, or better yet, listen to the ethical bug that's definitely not a cricket. He thinks he's summoning some sort of demon locust, and nope, it's his conscience who's trying to get him to slow down and think, the thing he needs to do. And somehow they make a Banjo-Tooie reference. Unless you worked on this movie, you cannot convince me that that is not somehow a Banjo-Tooie reference, that he pulls out the phoenix and uses it like a flamethrower. There's something about just like the recklessness of it, but then the ownership of it. Like he's just awful. The ownership of it and the disbelief of this ethical bug who's trying to like find the good in him and like, oh, I'm gonna be a conscience and I'm gonna be a guide and we'll figure this out, Jack. You don't really think you should be killing everyone there, Jack? Like it's so funny. The ethical bug is the best, and it's so needed because it keeps him in this grounded, awful place. He's just awful and selfish. After the greatest Banjo-Kazooie reference of our time, we cut back to our trio. Puss in Boots' beard is getting itchy and he wants it off. However, he's gonna need help. He still doesn't have a sword. All he has is a stick. And then he gets the little Gatito. It's this really beautiful, serviceable moment to just have him need to openly ask for help. Kitty kind of calls him out on it, but then agrees to help. She's shaving his face. It's a very intimate setting. Been playing Zelda games and stuff my whole life. There's something about going from the wooden stick to the tiny sword. I don't know. There's something very satisfying about that like sword upgrade, openly asking for help, and the shock that Kitty has of like, wow, Puss in Boots is asking for help. Look at you. Someone's on an arc. Ditching the stick then excites the dog and he chases it, which gets us into our first battle since the factory, which I wouldn't even call that. It's a chase scene. It's alarming how deadly and instant, but also very pretty baby unicorn horns are. But again, he doesn't know what they do. The sights aren't set on his crossbow. The ethical bug is begging him to stop killing his own men. Here comes Puss in Boots with his new tiny little Gatito. I'm sorry. He hears the whistle of the wolf. And I thought we were going for a metaphor. Eggs on my face. I thought the design of the wolf and his omnipresence in the movie was a metaphor. He gets frightened and he runs off, and we have the most powerful scene in the movie. Seeing this wolf brings Puss in Boots to not only run away from battle, something he would never do before this movie, but he starts to have a panic attack, and the dog follows him. All the color is gone, all the life and action is gone. He's on the ground by this tree, and the dog starts to wonder what to do, and then it all starts to kind of click. Again, he wants to be a therapy dog. He just rests, channels his own breathing, and Puss in Boots starts to breathe, calm down, and it's soothing. He kind of gives him a little pet. What's going on? And they talk about it. It's so heartwarming and touching, and like it hits on so many various things because we were just in a battle, and it could be PTSD. It could just be a general anxiety or panic attack, the fear of seeing the wolf, obviously, but like what it can relate to is so many different things. It's the conquering of the obstacle, going through a panic attack and coming out the other side. That's what makes you strong. Having the panic attack does not make you weak. Needing a therapy dog or help from a friend does not make you weak. doing this makes you strong. That's a really big deal to me. And it hits, and it's so powerful. And then knowing that this is also a tool that's out there for people and spreading awareness to it and normalizing it for kids that might see this movie, adults that might see this movie, families, everybody. Like it doesn't matter what demographic you are, normalizing this, getting yourself in a nice space and having someone check in with you, opening up. And this is when Puss in Boots says that this is his last life. He's afraid. And then Puss in Boots continues to open up and talks about Santa Coloma. He talks about what really happened between him and Kitty and why Kitty will never trust him. So there's no point in telling her what he's feeling, which obviously isn't true. It wasn't a heist. It wasn't some sort of battle or fight gone wrong. It was where they were going to get married. He never showed up. It was the first time in his life he got scared and he got cold feet and he never showed up to the wedding. I really love the vulnerability in this moment. And the one complaint I was going to have about it is like, oh, another like sad bride story. Nope. Shut up, Bill. Keep watching the movie for a second. Turns out Kitty also didn't show up to their wedding because she could never compete with his one true love, himself. The details that don't need to be added that they added to that. It's so clever and good. And she does also concede that that person that you were then is not who I see now. It's kind of this beautiful take on the 9 lives concept. You can also grow from these experiences and learn. You have an opportunity to, in a sense, reinvent yourself. And I love that. Seeing the growth that he's had and seeing it acknowledged by the characters in little kind ways like that is very sweet. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Goldilocks has the map. However, it brings her to a nostalgic cabin in the woods, the bear's cabin in the woods. It's literally their home being manifested by the magic of the map. And then the map changes and basically tells her to get it together. Are you sure you want to wish? Seems like everything you want is right in front of you and you just can't see it. It's this beautiful expansion on Goldie and the 3 bears that I really wasn't expecting. And again, really speaks to how smart it is that they focused on a couple of fairy tales that they're spinning in their unique ways. And then watch as Goldie and Mama Bear kind of look at the beds and see this like memory ghost of Goldilocks as a little girl. It's very sweet. And from Mama Bear's perspective, this was the moment that changed their lives forever and made it just right. When this little girl ate our porridge and slept in our bed and broke into our home, and now my family is complete. I know I'm such a sucker for found families. I didn't think I'd ever relate this much to Goldilocks and the 3 bears. I've known that story for 25 years, and here I am just getting so emotional thinking about it. But I love that, and also we see something is not connecting the same for Goldie the way it is for the bear family. Again, I thought we were alluding to Goldie's gonna wish that she was a bear. No, Goldie, you don't have to be anything but who you are to be part of our family. Family is okay even if you're not related and you look different. Okay, anyway, I'm getting personally attached to this. And we also see that Jack Corner and the ethical bug kind of have it out over how awful Jack is. The one thing that'll make me happy is stealing magic from everyone. And I love it. You need a little black and white so you could appreciate the gray of our characters, where they're at and where they're going. And then to reflect that in Puss in Boots, we then see our heroes get separated because Puss in Boots grabs the map, and then the Cave of Lost Souls, a part of his trials if he holds the map, kind of ensnares only Puss in Boots, again in this Shrekifying way of messing with a fairy tale formula. We have Puss in Boots on his own. Okay, it's time for that true test. Who are you when the cards are down and no one's looking and it's just you? Have you changed? And normally this would be the cave of, wow, I've been sad and missing a family this whole time. Instead, it's just the revelation of his 8 previous lives and what a jerk he's been. And then has the revelation of how sad and lonely he's been as a hero of one. Elden Ring maidenless shot of him shivering alone at a fire. But it's not so black and white and cut and dry as, oh, well, you guys were jerks and I'm not going to be a jerk anymore. He has fun regaling on memories and laughing with his past selves, And his first true sign of growth, when it's just him by himself, he doesn't stick around for one more song. No, fellas, I really gotta go. Do you know how to get out of this cave? It's really subtle, and it's so good at telling us where he's at. He kind of succeeded right then and there. He's not going to stick around for one more song and get crushed by a bell. He's being less reckless. Just in time for the wolf to come back. Again, scary, unnerving, and we get the coolest revelation. And I can't stress enough how much I thought this was just metaphorical until the wolf says the words, "I am death." And that's not a hyperbole. That's not metaphorical. It is canon, baby. You think you're above death. You think you're above me. You say you laugh in the face of death, but I don't see you laughing now. You've wasted and devalued all 8 of your previous lives. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take your last one now. This is not a metaphor. I am death. It's so creepy. It's so engaging and unique and interesting, and it slaps you in the face. Because again, I'm like, oh, he's scared of seeing the wolf again, so that's part of his test. He touched the map. Maybe it's secretly the dog's fear that something will take Puss in Boots away from him. So the one thing that can is the wolf. Something. I really was justifying it in every way, even down to the wolf is a metaphor for death. Until he says, "I am death," this is not a metaphor. And the performance is so, who was it? Wagner Mora? I really hope I'm saying your name right. I'm so sorry, because I am pretty sure I'm not. The performance is so good. The design is so great. I love that reveal. I'm glad it's so short-lived to have the liar reveal moment, but it's still very effective. Puss in Boots gets to the star. He's going to make his wish so death won't take him away from Kitty and the dog, but they don't understand it. Kitty is hurt. She trusted him. She didn't even want the wish, but the fact that he's going behind her back tells her, well, I can't trust you. She reveals her wish was to have someone in her life that she can fully trust, and she thought it was him. Meanwhile, Goldie has revealed that her wish is for a real, proper family, which hurts all the bears. Despite all that, the mama bear says, even if you don't see us as your family, we still love you and we will help you get that wish. If that's what really is going to make you happy, we will help you do it. I don't know. I just felt that. Long story short, childhood divorces. I too have selfishly wished as a child that my family was normal, traditional. I'm over it now. But long story short, it's just very relatable. And Mama Bear is a legend. Then all of our characters reconvene at the wishing star spot. Jack Horner is there. Goldie is there. The bears are there. Puss in Boots is about to make his wish. Now there's an all-out battle for the map because you need to hold the map and say the starlight, star bright. They're fighting on the star. So the lighting and the colors are all incredible. But then we all know where everyone's emotional headspace is at. So it kind of hits a little harder when one of the bears goes in to fight for Goldie, knowing they're going to lose something if Goldie gets the wish. Even seeing our main trio be a little fractured as they're going through this battle. I love the revelation of, well, all the rest of us typically have one life. One life is enough as long as you make it enriching and value it. Beautiful revelation to have right as the wolf comes back and challenges Puss in Boots to a fire duel. The big, sharp colors, the animation's so harsh. It's just that energy before the action scene starts where the wolf drops the sword in front of Puss in Boots, just like he did in the first act of the movie. Pick it up. As Puss in Boots faces his fear of literally death, his life starts to flash before his eyes. Sorry, Shrek. The people he sees now are Kitty and the dog, and now he's not fighting for his life, he's fighting for this life. He has found the value in his last life, and he's never going to stop fighting for it. And it's this really beautiful fight scene. At one point, Puss in Boots gets disarmed, and he uses the Little Gatito knife. I'm sorry. I loved using both blades. By using this, he gained a new experience, and he can fight on a whole different level. He disarms the wolf and says, pick it up, and the wolf just realizes who he is now, who he's fighting now. You're not arrogant. You don't think you're immortal, that you've killed the sport of this fight. You know I'm going to be back at some point, right? And Puss in Boots acknowledges, yep, and I'll see you then. And it's so satisfying. And then the fact that, like, yes, that's the climax of the movie, but then we still have to deal with Jack Horner. But now we're in this better place so we can stop the man who's trying to take all the magic. All of the characters from our A team and our B team realize we've had what we've wanted all along. We needed to improve. We didn't need magic. let's get rid of this and stop him. Right as they rip apart the map, and suddenly the ethical bug comes back to burn the last piece, and it's just weirdly silly and satisfying, and then also satisfying to see all these characters we just saw grow, relish in their victory, relish in their growth. I was surprised that nobody made a wish. Turns out the dog's just gonna go by Perrito, because that's what everyone's been calling him this whole time anyway. A better name than Jeff, in my opinion. I love that nobody ended up making a wish, and we're all just going to do our best to build as enriching as a life as we can together. Cheesy as it is, I love the line that Puss in Boots gives to Kitty, where he just says, having even just one life to spend with you is already my wish. Like, it's so cliche, but it's so good. It's so earned. After doing so many unique things, Goldie and the Bears are going to kind of take over the pie factory and start a ideally legit family business. The ethical bug offers to teach them ethics, and there's a joke about them trying to squash it. I am going to tell myself that they do learn ethics and treat their employees properly. Somebody's got to in this crazy world. And then we see a little time has gone by. Puss in Boots, Kitty, and Perrito, team friendship. They've stolen a ship from that same governor from the beginning of the movie. The romantic tension has blossomed between Puss in Boots and Kitty, and they're sailing for new adventures. And to see old friends. Smash my mouth, they made me excited for Shrek 5. I know that's what they're teasing. I hope they do it if they're going to keep to this standard. Good luck. I never thought I'd be excited for a Shrek 5 and not in a sarcastic, ironic meme sense. I found it really satisfying. Again, the moments that are a little cliche towards the end, I don't care. You broke so many norms, you earned it. I really loved this movie. I love the driving force just being to put in the effort, face your fears, work on yourself, figure out what's going on, find new ways to deal with your fears, your anxieties, your problems, embracing reality. Whether it's mortality or the family you have may not look the way it does in books or whatever, but this is the family you have. And the thing that's important is love and support and kindness. I love both the individuality in the message of taking a hard look at yourself and improving for the better, as well as the love and kindness and support you can get from working on yourself. It's beautiful visually. The animation is exciting. This world is engaging. It made me enjoy and look forward to more Shrek stuff again. I might even go back and watch the ones that I missed. Would you like that video? I didn't think I would ever like a Shrek project again. I more of this, please. I highly recommend it. If you find a way to watch it, go watch it. I love how we can acknowledge our regret, and while we can't change what we've done, there's no time travel in this, surprisingly. I think is there time travel in one of the Shrek movies? There's no time travel in this. We can't change the things we've done, but we can change course to improve our future as well as our present. It works with the B storyline too with Goldie and the Bears. If Goldie didn't care about her bear family, like Jack didn't care for anybody who was working with him or trying to help him, she could just destroy this family of bears and grab the thing she wants, and they would let her do that. So it's really interesting. I loved how all of our characters reflected each other, and then how most of them anyway came together. I also love how the song Fearless Hero that Puss in Boots sings at the beginning, and it's repeated a lot, it's all lies, or at least disproven or challenged throughout this. He's not fearless. He doesn't gamble with his life or roll the dice when he doesn't have more lives to gamble with anymore. Who's never been touched by a blade? I think it's pretty cool, ironically. I think it's a pretty legendary thing to say that the only blade that's touched you is the blade of death. Anyway. Stands up against evil and fights for the people, not when he's only looking out for himself. You can just tell that so much hard work got put into this, and it just really shows. It really paid off. Like, this feels passionate. But yeah, there you guys go. Those are my thoughts and review and breakdown of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Was there something that you liked that I said, something that I missed, something you want me to talk about, or a movie you want me to watch in the future and overthink and overanalyze? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video if you did, subscribe if you want more, ring the bell. That's very important now on YouTube. I do stream twice a week on my gaming channel, linked in the description, Bill Chill Gaming. If you want to support more content in the future, you can donate at thethirdbill.com or pick up some merch. You can also donate here on the video with a super thanks. And just like every video and stream that I do, there's a link in the description that'll send you to a card for social awareness and education, mental health and resources, crisis lines, Trevor Project resources, things like that, should you or someone you know need them. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time I upload or go live. Wear a mask if you go out, be mindful of others, and remember to take care of yourselves, please.